everybody, you're at home with Melissa, and this is our June 2016 fish update. And today what we're going to talk about is basically just the Oscars, just the bigger Oscars, my biggest ones, Hercules and Achilles, and of course their friend you see there in the foreground, that's the pleco. His name is Scooby-Doo. And I finally managed to get these guys into their bigger, better, newer digs. I'm so excited. Oh, there we go. I was just adjusting the camera for you there a little bit. And if you would, please forgive the minerals that you can see in the water. We just got the guys into their new tank yesterday, and the things that we added have put a lot of minerals into the water. Probably it'll cycle through within the next day or so. But they seem so happy in their new environment. They have all this room. And for a while, Hercules had taken to kind of attacking Achilles when he got in a bad mood. And Hercules is a little moody. He's the alpha fish. And if you remember Hercules, he was the one that I was worried about because he hadn't fared well through the trip to my house. And ever since then, he's been kind of a mouth breather. And right now they're both mouth breathing because I'm really close to the tank, and they think that means they should be fed, even though I just fed them. Now in this new tank, what you'll see is I've got, of course, the two boys, and in the upper right corner you can see what's called, I wrote it down because I don't know it yet, and I think a Ponageton? I'm not sure. I probably murdered that pronunciation. I have it just kind of free floating up there. You can plant it into the substrate and things, but I have a very thin layer of gravel on the bottom. That allowed me to leave one area a little bit bare so they could see the reflective surface on the base, on the bottom there of the tank. And both they and the pleco have checked it out. They like playing with it. And the Oscars like to occasionally roll on it. And they also like to mess up the gravel. And I have two of those merino moss balls there on the bottom. You might be able to see them or might not. I don't think you can. They're just balls of moss, and they sit on the bottom. I thought maybe the Oscars would like to play with them, but they haven't. And they also haven't totally trashed the plants, which, you know, you always hear, don't put plants in an Oscar tank because they'll just trash them. They check them out, and they occasionally just go tearing into them as fast as they can swim, but they haven't really bitten much off. Of course, they don't have any interest in eating the plants, but a lot of times, just to play, Oscars will trash plants, and these guys haven't. They really haven't. And I was surprised. I thought for sure that within 24 hours, they'd have them totaled. Now, if you look at the pleco there, he is so neat. I wish he would open his fins for you and show you. His fins are really lacy, especially the dorsal fin. It just looks like this big thing of lace, and I really like looking at that. And I love, of course, watching the boys. I don't even know if they're boys. It's hard to tell the difference in sex in Oscars unless you look at their sexual organs, and I really don't want to. And so if someone starts laying eggs, we'll know that we have a female in there. But these two get along really well. In the smaller tank, Hercules would get angry, and every time he did, he would attack Achilles because Hercules did grow into his name, as I hoped he would, and he is the alpha fish. So it's really a lot easier now than it used to be to tell these two apart because Hercules has grown much larger than Achilles. Can you see the difference there? He's the one in the front, and Achilles is kind of sort of following his lead. And I'll tell you what, they haven't fought once since they've been in the new tank. Hercules' biggest thing that used to aggravate him was the lights being on past bedtime. My overhead lights. They're here in the room that I do most of my work in, and he thinks his bedtime is somewhere about an hour past sunset. How he knows when that is, I don't know, but he seems to know, and he would get really aggravated if the overhead lights were on. and he would start attacking Achilles. And I'd see this happen, and it would dawn on me that, oh yeah, the lights are still on. And so for a while, I was sitting trying to do paperwork by oil lamp light, just so as to not set Hercules off. And I figured that the main reason for this was because he just didn't have enough room. These guys needed more room. They needed into their bigger tank. It just took a while to get it ready, and now it is, and they're doing really well, and they're really happy. And, you know, they play with things, they check things out, they check out the pleco, but they don't seem to attack him very much. And I would have thought that the pleco would be a lot more docile than he is. In the old tank, he spent all this time just in hiding. And he hasn't gone and hidden himself away once in the new tank. He's always right out in the open where everyone can see him. And he just goes about his business, sucking the algae off of the sides of the tank. And, you know, he doesn't bother the Oscars, but he doesn't seem to care what they do. He's just going about his business. And if they happen to be in his way, he just shoves past them. It's like, I have food over there, pal. And something neat about the pleco that I didn't know, and I just read recently, they're called algae eaters, so I figured that all they ate was algae. Apparently this is a really common misconception, and honestly, I had no idea. I wasn't doing anything intentionally to harm the guy. Well, he had plenty of food because of the Oscars, but let's imagine I had a tank of nothing but plecos. I would have been not feeding them other things if they had plenty of algae to feast on, because I thought that's all they ate. It's not. They also will eat different plants. They say to give them algae wafers if they don't have a lot of algae around. They'll eat insects and little crustaceans and bloodworms. And what I read said to make sure to give them on occasion fresh fruits and vegetables to round out their diet. And it said especially zucchini, that they like little strips of little round cuts of zucchini. And of course it warns not to give them acidic things like citric fruits or tomatoes, but apparently they have a really varied diet. And I've also heard here just in the past few days again, because finding all that got me interested and I started looking around, the plecos also really need some wood to nibble on. They get that, and that gives them fiber in their diet. They really need fiber in their diet. And I've been today and yesterday, because as I said, I've only known about this for 2 days, I've been looking for some driftwood to put in here, and if worst comes to worst, I'll just find a piece of wood and boil it and stick it in there so that he has something. Now, why I say that about boiling it is that woods can contain tannins and things that can hurt your fish. So what you're supposed to do is you either soak it in non-chlorinated water for 2 weeks, changing the water once it gets really cloudy, and keep doing that and keep doing that and keep doing that until the water gets to where it stays clear. Or you can boil it until, again, when you change the water, it doesn't change color when you have the wood in there. And the reason you need to do that is so that those tannins don't hurt the fish. And if you get your wood out in the wild, if you find it yourself, I can think of other reasons to do that as well. You want to make sure that any potential harmful things that would be in it would be dead if it was a parasite, or boiled out. You know, I prefer the idea of boiling it. I think what I'm going to do to boil my driftwood is that I'm going to use a pan I have that's about the size of my entire stovetop. That way I can get nice big pieces of wood and take care of them. But that should do us. And, you know, hopefully their permanent home, once they get to that, will be absolutely gorgeous. I'd love to have something really nice to show you guys. I'm not really all that concerned with making this tank pretty. The boys like swimming around. They are usually a lot calmer than this. Like I said, I'm close to the tank, so they're hoping for a little bit of food to be thrown to them, in spite of the fact that I fed them right before I went and started filming. But, you know, I'm here, so Mommy's here. We can have food, food, food. And an Oscar will eat and eat and eat and eat and just keep eating. And they, like I've said in previous videos, they like a really varied diet, and they should have that because they need it for proper nutrition. And I just think these guys are beautiful. I could watch them all day, and have a lot of times ended up watching them a lot longer than I should have. Seriously, because when they're not all excited with me here, and I'm here so that I can talk to you and you can hear me really well, but when I'm not so close and things, now that they're in the new tank that they like so much, they just swim really gently and slowly and kind of cuddle. I like it. It's nice. It's nice that they get along. A lot of people think that you can't have more than one Oscar in a tank, and that basically you can only have an Oscar in a tank, or maybe an Oscar and a Pleco, because they'll attack, kill, or harass anybody else, and that they can't get along with each other. A lot of people think that, and look at these guys. Look how sweet they are with each other. You know, you can't ask for better than that. In fact, they seem to be really bonded, and I would make sure that any tank I put them in, these two are going to be together, always. So they have some company, and they keep each other going, they keep each other entertained, and I'm going to make sure that they have a lot of nifty toys in their new place. I mean, they've got toys in this one. I made sure that they would, because they've got enough room, they can swim around, there's enough room for them to have toys, so they do. But they really haven't paid a whole lot of attention to them. They still play with the gravel. They'll suck in a piece of gravel and blow it out or roll in it, but as far as playing with any of the other things that I put in there for them, they checked them out when they first came to be in the tank, but since then it was kind of like, okay, so that's what you are. Alright, I'm not interested anymore. Again, they'll occasionally swim really fast up into the plants, but that's about it. You know, they don't, there you go, good boy. They don't really mess with anything too much. Hopefully, when they get a new place that has some interesting cracks and crevices and things to explore, maybe then they'll play with things a little bit more, but we'll see when that time comes. As for now, they've got plenty of room, and they're really happy. They seem to be really enjoying themselves. And look at them. Look at them looking. Oh, more food. Our mother never feeds us except every time she turns around. Oh, there he goes. See, that's about the most they do with the plants. They just swim up into them and check them out. I've probably only seen them even nibble on them like twice. So, and that's been since, I really think it was yesterday morning. I've been so, oh, look at the Pleco. Look at his, did you see his dorsal? Gorgeous. Just gorgeous. He's beautiful. And I never got to really look at his patterning or the beautiful way that he's structured when he was in the other tank, because like I said, he hid in the shadows and he just looked like a little black blob. And now look at him. Did you see him down there in the bottom? And look at that belly. Look at that gorgeous belly. Ah, I like him. And it is neat to watch him eating the algae off the side of the tank, to watch his mouth work. And from a distance, he kind of looks like, his mouth looks like a little guinea pig mouth, because you can almost imagine you see the little teeth in there that you can see him eating. And he just, I don't know, he just seems to be pretty laid back. He's a definite type B most of the time. Every now and then he gets a little spunky, but for the most part, he's type B and just hangs out. Last night I was checking everybody out. It was kind of late at night, really late at night. And I was here and got to see the Pleco in action, because he gets most active at nighttime. And I got to really observe him quite a bit last night. And it was fun. He was really, really active. I didn't think that they generally were. So I enjoyed seeing that. And hopefully I have a lot more to tell you and share with you here in the future. I'm pretty excited about some things that are going to be happening with basically all the guys, you know. And again, I'm calling them guys and probably shouldn't, but I don't want to call them things because they're not. So until I know better, I'm going to use guys. We kind of use that as a gender neutral where I'm from, so that's my term, the guys. Well, then again, I call them boys sometimes, these two, because they just, I don't know. Until proven otherwise, that's what I'm going to call them, I guess. But sorry for anyone who's offended. I hope you're not. And so there are a lot of neat things going on here, and I do want to share all those with you, but today for our June update, I just wanted to share this with you and let you see what these guys are up to and get a really good look at them in this tank where they have a lot of room to just swim and play and really enjoy themselves. And, you know, it's kind of wonderful to watch. It really is. I hate even shutting off the camera, because if you enjoy them as much as I do, you'd probably like to sit here for a while longer and watch them, but I really shouldn't let this go any further. It's already been 15 minutes, so I'm going to let you guys go, and I thank you very, very, very much for tuning in. It really does matter a lot to me. I don't think that the fish care so much, but ignore them. They're rude that way. But I really do appreciate it, and I'm glad that you've shown so much interest in them, and I hope that you have a wonderful day, and that you tune in, little stutter there, that you tune in again to the At Home with Melissa channel. Aw, that wasn't nice. We're just trying to say goodbye to the folks. We're not off camera yet. Stop with the violence. Stop with the gratuitous violence. Isn't that what we're trying to get away from on our program? Come on. Anyway, you guys have a great time, and we'll catch you the next time right here. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.